Hello, welcome to Sara Yoga. I'm delighted to have you here for day 6 of 30 days of yoga. This is a series of short yoga classes which are perfect if you're a beginner to yoga or if you want to ease yourself gently back into a regular practice. We build on what we learned in the class before, and I'll introduce you to lots of the basic yoga postures to build up your confidence and get you into that yoga state of mind so that it's easier to get onto the mat every day. Enjoy the class. So we're finding a comfortable seated position to begin. It might be cross-legged, and I really like to sit up on a yoga block because it helps to lift the pelvis and give you a taller, more lengthened spine. You might like to come into this variation of cross-legged where you bring one foot in front of the other. And then from here, just closing your eyes, allow your awareness to scan over your body, noticing how you're feeling. Observe the sensations in your body, whether there are areas of tension, just acknowledge and notice that. And feel grounded and connected with the earth through all the points of contact between your body and the mat or the block, cushion, or even a thick book that you might be sitting on. Notice how you feel. Connect your mind with your breath. And observe the breath as it flows in and as it flows out. Notice whereabouts in your body your breath naturally settles without trying to change anything at all. Notice that your breath is like a circle that is repeating over and over again. Inhalation is followed by exhalation, followed by inhalation, a repeating circle. And you might find that your awareness of your breath is heightening. So you notice that after every inhalation, there is a very natural pause, and the exhalation organically begins. And then after the exhalation, there is an organic pause. And the inhalation naturally begins. And the circle continues on. And these pauses, they're not holding the breath in any way, but just noticing the natural lulls in the circle of breath. And giving these spaces importance in the circle. So it's an inhalation, a natural pause. An exhalation, a natural pause. So the breath is like a 4-part circle. Inhalation, pause. Exhalation, pause, over and over again. Lengthen up through your spine. Take an inhalation as you shrug your shoulders right up to your ears. And exhale, slide them down your back. Inhaling up and exhale down. And again. Observe all the sensations in your body. One more. Keep your shoulders sliding down your back and away from your ears as you inhale, float your arms up to shoulder height. Exhale, circle your wrists down. Inhaling up and exhaling down. And the other way, inhale, circle up and exhale down. And then bringing palms to touch in front of your heart. Inhaling as you squeeze your palms together, feel strength in your upper back. Exhale, drop your shoulders away from your ears. Inhale, breathing wide and full into your chest. Exhale, shoulders drop away from the ears, and again. Inhale, squeeze palms together and turning your fingertips away from you, feeling a stretch in your wrists. Exhale, reach your hands forward, let your shoulder blades slide forward off your back. Inhale, your arms out wide, setting your shoulder blades on your back but not squeezing them together. Exhale, palms to touch. And then inhaling, reaching your arms out, spreading out your fingers. Keep shoulders drawing down your back. Exhale, reaching back and down, squeezing shoulder blades together. Inhale, back and up, shoulders slide away from the ears. And exhale, palms to touch. Inhale here. And then exhale, reaching your hands up. Inhale, hands back and down, squeezing shoulder blades together. Exhale, arms up, shoulders drop down your back as fingertips reach up, feeling like your arms are lengthening in both directions. And then palms to touch. Bring your fingertips down by your sides. If it feels right, you might like to change the cross of your legs, just keeping your body nice and even, and see if that feels any different. How does it feel? Just observe these things. And then inhaling as you sweep your left arm up and exhaling over into a side lean. Root down to lengthen up, cut through your arms up and exhaling over into a side lean. Keep your bottom plastered down to the floor, lengthen up. So you're reaching over, stretching fingertips away, bottom grounding down so the side body is stretching beautifully. Inhaling up, exhaling over. One more each side. And then coming back to center, bringing palms to touch. Inhale, extend your arms up, lengthen your spine. Exhale, gentle twist, look up over your back shoulder with your face, with your eyes. Inhale, back to center, lengthen your spine. Exhale, look over your other shoulder. Inhale, back to center, reach and lengthen up. Exhale, looking over your shoulder. Inhale, back to center, and again. So one more round each side here. Really long spine before we twist. This is so healthy for the spine. And bringing your hands down in front of your heart. Inhaling, arms around and up. Interlock your fingers, palms facing towards, palms facing forwards. And then bringing your hands just behind your skull. So it's like you're slightly lifting the base of the skull with the hands, and just breathing here for a moment. Nice tall spine, lengthened up the back of your body, ribs drawn slightly in, feeling as though you're breathing wide and full into your chest. It might be quite a big stretch in your shoulders, triceps maybe. Inhale here, and then exhaling as you tuck your chin, feeling like you're lengthening the back of your neck and round your shoulders just slightly. Elbows can come forward. Inhale, back to center. Broad breath in, exhale. Curl the shoulders, round the upper back slightly, drop the chin. Lengthen the back of your skull, up and away. Inhale, back to center, one more round. Round the shoulders gently. Inhale, back to center and release. Beautiful. Have a few lovely big shoulder shrugs and circles. Resting hands back on knees or thighs. Exhale, drop your chin to your chest. Inhale, look up and over one shoulder. Exhale, chin towards your chest. Inhale, look up and over your other shoulder. Come back to center, head, neck and spine aligned. Moving forward onto hands and knees, with hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Spread out all your fingers. Creases between the wrists and hands parallel with the front of the mat. Soft elbows, softly bent. Back of the neck parallel to the floor. Drawing your tummy gently in towards the spine so that you're not sagging through the lower back. And just taking a couple of rounds of breath here in this very active position, which is called 6-point pose, also flat cat or tabletop pose. And so these 6 points that are grounding down, the hands, the knees, the tops of the feet, see if you can ground through them and feel how that lengthens you up and away from the mat, letting you feel energized. Imagine you have a light on your chest and you're beaming it straight down at the earth right now. Inhale as you shine that light forward, turning your tailbone up but not sagging through the lower back. So keep that gentle engagement of your core, your tummy drawing in towards your spine. Curl your toes under and press your toes into the mat to stretch your feet. As your exhalation naturally occurs, bring the tops of your feet to the mat, tuck your tailbone under, round your spine up towards the ceiling. Relax your neck, let your head hang down, push the floor away with your hands and with your feet. Inhaling, shining your chest through to up cat. So you have that delicious pause at the top of the inhalation. And you observe that your elbows are soft, that your core is gently engaged to keep the spine long and your feet are stretching. And then as the exhalation organically occurs, your tailbone begins to tuck under, the forward bend flows up your spine, and you come into your round cat position, or down cat as it's also called. And that pause at the end of the exhalation, maybe give your head a little wobble to help fully release the neck muscles. Inhaling, shining through to up cat. Tops of the feet to the mat, exhaling, rounding into down cat. Then bring your bottom down to your heels, or towards the heels, into child pose. Hands stay spread out and grounded. Inhaling, flowing through to up cat, back up to hands and knees. Curl your toes under. Up cat, then as your exhalation organically occurs, your tailbone tucks under. Round your spine, coming down into child pose. One more round like that in your breath, with your own breath timing. Rounding and down. A few rounds of breath here, taking a moment to melt into your child pose. Maybe have a little wobble side to side. Breathe deeply into your lower back. Breathe into the upper back too. Feel the back of your body expanding with your breath. And then with nice spread out fingers on your inhalation, rising up to hands and knees. Breathe naturally as you clarify your flat cat position. Soft elbows, hands under shoulders directly, lengthening from crown of head to tailbone. Tummy gently drawn in so that you're not sagging through the lower back. And you can imagine that your sit bones, these bony bits that stick out the bottom of your pelvis, imagine lines coming out of those bones, and those lines would be parallel to the floor, so not tipping upwards, not tipping downwards, but parallel to the floor. And you found your neutral spine in your flat cat position. And then curling your right toes under, pushing out through your back heel. So you might find that your weight sinks back a little bit and the shoulders come behind the hands, that's okay. Grounding down through the toes, pushing out through the heel. And it is useful to be on one of these tacky yoga mats with bare feet, because friction will help to grip your toes a little bit to the mat. But the toes are feeling relaxed, the ball of the foot feeling energized. Pelvis is level. You might like to have a little check underneath you that the pelvis is level, that you're not lifting or dropping this hip. But then bring the back of your neck parallel to the floor again. From here, bringing your shoulders over your hands directly and stretching your opposite arm forward. So for balance and for comfort of the wrists and arms, it's important, shoulders over hands. Opposite arm comes forward, have a few circles of the wrist, stretch out through that arm. And if you want more challenge, draw your tummy and lift your pelvic floor, lift your back leg up only to hip height. If you bring it higher, you will bring a dip into your lower back just from the mechanics of the position. So keep your leg level with the hip. Again, you can check under, check that levelness of the pelvis, that the leg isn't rising above hip level, but then bring back of the neck parallel to floor again. Ground your left hand down, ground the right foot down, bring the knee under the hip, round into round cat, sink down to child pose, have a wiggle, a wobble and a melt here. Turn your palms to face up, breathe into the back of your body. And then ground hands down again. Inhaling up to hands and knees. Clarifying your position, shoulders over hands directly. Stretch out through your left leg, toes curled into the mat, pushing out through the heel and breathing here. Face and jaw relax. As you push out through that back heel, your shoulders might sink behind your hands, and that's okay. Just making sure that shoulders are over hands directly. Bring your opposite arm forward, so the right arm comes forward and circle the wrist a few times in each direction. Keep looking straight down at the floor. If you want more challenge, bring your back leg up to hip height, point out through the toes and breathe. So opposite hand down to opposite knee, ground down through the top of the back foot. Stretch from fingertips to toes. And then placing your right hand down, your left foot down, bring the knee under the hip. Inhale. And exhale, tuck your tailbone under, around your spine into round cat. Sink your bottom down to your heels into child pose. Have a round of breath here. You may like to turn your palms to face upwards, feeling that wonderful stretch across your shoulders. And then place your hands down. Spread out your fingers. Inhale, come up to hands and knees. Exhale, send your bottom up into the air, into downward facing dog. Pressing up and back into your tailbone, and then continue to move with your breath. So inhaling slowly onto hands and knees. Bring the tops of your feet to the mat, and exhaling down into child pose. Inhale, back to hands and knees in neutral spine, not sagging through the lower back. And then exhaling, pushing your bottom up and back. Reaching your hands into the mat, spreading out your fingers. Downward dog. Inhale slowly, hands and knees. And exhale, child pose. One more round, just like that. Inhaling, hands and knees with control. Exhale into child pose. And then we shall make our way back up again to downward dog. Inhaling, hands and knees. Exhale, downward dog. Spend a few moments here. You might like to paddle out your feet, dropping alternate heels down. You may like to stay in stillness with the hands planted firmly, feeling like a long lean line from wrists to tailbone. Remember that if your back feels like it's rounding or hunching like that, bend your knees more and really push your tailbone up and back towards the line between the ceiling and the wall. Inhale here and exhale as you step your right foot forward in between the hands. And don't worry if you need to give it a bit of a shuffle. That's fine. Lower your back knee down to the floor. Bring the top of the back foot to the mat. Do use a cushion or blanket underneath your back knee if it feels sore on the floor. And just make sure that your knee is stacked directly over your ankle. Then from here, drawing your tummy in, lifting your pelvic floor, feel strong through your core. As you inhale and raise your arms up, palms facing towards each other. Hips are sinking forward, front knee not overshooting the ankle. And breathe. Drop your shoulders down your back. If you do find you have very tense shoulders and they're up by your ears, then bend your elbows, that's completely fine. One more lovely breath here. And exhale, bring your hands down, ground them either side of your front foot, curl your back toes under, step back into downward facing dog. Inhale slowly onto hands and knees, tops of your feet to the mat, and exhale, sink down into child pose. A lovely round of breath here as you just melt away into the mat. And then when you're ready, inhaling, rising up to hands and knees, curl your toes under, exhale your bottom into the air into downward dog. Lovely long inhalation as you push your tailbone up and back. And then exhale, step your left foot forward in between the hands. Fine to give it a shuffle, even a little push with your hand. Top of the back foot to the mat, check your alignment. Hips are pushed forward as knee stacks over the ankle. Draw your tummy and lift your pelvic floor. Inhale, sweep your arms up so strong. And breathe in, low lunge. Gently pushing your hips forward. So we're getting used to moving in and out of these poses with the breath. And we're building up slowly to the sun salutation. And we're going to build up to a version of that through these 30 days of yoga. And so then grounding your hands down, curl your back toes under, step back into downward dog or onto hands and knees if that is easier. And then slowly making your way to hands and knees. Bring the tops of your feet to the mat. Exhale, sinking your bottom down to child pose. Have a little wiggle side to side. Maybe a circle for your wrists. Ground your hands, spread out your fingers, inhaling up to hands and knees. Just check the creases between your wrists and hands are parallel with the front of the mat. Curl your toes under. Exhale, bring your weight forward over your middle fingers, strong in your core, not sagging your lower back. Inhale back to center, bring the tops of your feet to the mat, and exhale, sink your bottom down to child pose. Inhaling up to hands and knees, curl your toes under. Exhale, bring your weight forward, ground down through your toes. Inhale back to center, and exhale down into child pose. Extending upon this to add down dog. So inhaling, hands and knees, sink the shoulders down the back, curl your toes under. Exhale, bring your weight forward over your middle fingers, back to hands and knees as you inhale, and then exhale as you push your tailbone up and back into downward dog. Inhale slowly, hands and knees. Exhale, bottom to the heels into child pose. Inhaling, hands and knees. Curl your toes under, exhale your weight forward over your middle fingers, soft elbows, slightly bent, just slightly. Inhale back to center, hands and knees. Exhale, downward dog. Flow with the breath, inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, child pose. One more round like that. Inhale, hands and knees. Curl the toes under. Creases between the wrist and hands parallel with the front of the mat as you bring your weight forward. Inhale back to center, exhale, downward dog. Flowing on, inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, rest in child pose. So if that movement that we've just done feels like enough challenge for you, then stay with that, and we're going to do some chaturangas, where we are going to be working the arms, shoulders and chest a bit more. If that previous vinyasa movement in time with the breath didn't feel so good for your wrists, then do just rest. And you can always do some just movements up onto hands and knees and down into child pose, because that's really good for stretching the muscles of your back, strengthening your arms and your shoulders, because that flat cat position, let's inhale up into it now, inhaling onto hands and knees. This is a strong position as long as you're doing it right with the elbows soft, shoulders down the back. It will be toning your arms and toning your core, not sagging through the lower back. So then if you're going to come on to some chaturangas, move your hands forward just a little bit, curl your toes under, bring your weight forward so now the shoulders are over the hands directly. And then exhaling as you lower yourself down to the floor in one long piece, keeping your elbows in. Bring the tops of your feet to the mat, ground through the baby toe side of your feet just a little bit extra, using the muscles of your back. Lift your collarbone up and forward, lowest rib stays on the mat, not pushing down with your hands. Baby cobra. Exhale, forehead releases back down to the earth. Curl your toes under, draw your tummy in, lift your pelvic floor. Inhale, hands and knees. And exhale, pushing straight back into downward facing dog. Inhaling slowly, hands and knees. And exhale, child pose. Let's do one more round. Inhaling, hands and knees. Find your half plank position, maybe bringing your hands forward a tad. Exhaling, lowering down, one long piece, tops of the feet to the mat. Inhale, baby cobra, not craning the neck up. Looking at the floor, about 1.5 feet in front of you. Exhale, release back down, curl the toes under. Draw your tummy in, lift your pelvic floor, feel lifted from your waist as you come to hands and knees, and then straight back to downward dog. Beautiful. Inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, rest in child pose. And again, have a little circle for your wrists, a little wiggle side to side. You could widen your knees with the big toes pointing towards each other here in hare pose. And just release. Good. Just observe how you feel. Melting into the mat. And so you could stay here for just as long as you wish. If you want to stay a bit longer, that's fine. Or if you would like to come and lie down on your back, that's also really nice. So take a bit of extra time for you. And if you're ready to come back to your everyday activity, slowly roll yourself back up, bringing your bottom to the mat, coming into comfortable cross-legged position. Let's just do a few extra wrist circles. So we're inhaling, sweeping the arms up, And then circling inwards towards the midline of the body. Exhale, circle your wrists as you sweep your arms down. And then bring palms to touch. Inhale, reaching and lengthening up. Circling outwards, away from the midline of your body. Circle your wrists out as you sweep your arms down. Return the palms to touch in front of your heart. Shoulders are away from your ears. Being aware of that connection between your palms. And take a moment to thank yourself for your yoga practice today, for continuing with these daily yoga practices, building your strength slowly, your knowledge of yoga, your mind-body awareness, and your muscle memory for these practices, so that it's easier to get on the mat every time. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.